Hey guys, how's it going? It is me again. Today I want to do a little quick review video for you guys. As you can see right here, we've got the Spektrum DX5R. I wanted to do this video right now because Horizon Hobby and Spektrum are running a sale right now where you can trade in another Surface radio system and pick yourself up one of these cool DX5Rs for $50 off. So the retail on these guys right now, as far as I know, is $279.99, pretty much wherever you're going to go. That's part number SPM 5000. That's the DX5R radio system with the SR6000T receiver. And if you trade in a radio to Horizon Hobby, or even better, your local hobby shop, like where I'm at Craft World and Action Hobbies in Jamestown, New York, bring in your old radio. We'll give you $50 off right here, so you can get this radio and a receiver for like $230, which is it's crazy. It's an awesome radio for that price. So I guess that kind of spoils the end of the review here, but let's get into talking a little bit more about the radio system itself. If you're familiar with Spektrum products at all, this is going to look, kind of familiar to you. It's, really similar to like the DX3S in the way that it's laid out. The radio, in my opinion, feels a little bit nicer in the hand. It's got a really nice drop-down wheel. You've got plenty of switches. You've got a nice knob up here, which you can assign to do whatever you want to do. You got a full line of switches here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 switches all around the wheel, and those are all totally programmable. You can do, whatever you want to with those guys. It does run on either a 2-cell LiPo, which they do sell separately, or 4 AA batteries, which is what I personally am using. I haven't had any issues with battery life that have made me want to go out and hurry up and get a LiPo battery. 4 AA's seems to be lasting, plenty for me. Just for a comparison, this is the old radio that I was using up until I got the DX5R. That's the DX4C. It's really Spektrum's entry-level radio. So just kind of an idea of the differences, the size wise that you get. No drop down wheel here. Obviously this has one less channel. It's got a lot less switches that are available for you. Screens on the side, a lot smaller screen. One of the biggest things you don't get with this one, that you do get with this one, in my opinion, is the telemetry function. That's basically the main reason why I upgraded. I'm not a radio snob by any means, but I did want some telemetry. This radio has it. Let me get the vehicle here that you see behind me pulled up. This radio does have model memory, 250 model memory to be exact. I do not have 250 models to program into here. I've got like 5. So this is my Losi truck, race on oval here. Apologize for the mess inside here that you're going to see in the truck, but just want to kind of show you, this is the receiver. Let's kind of zoom in here. This is the receiver that you're going to get with the DX5R when you buy it. It is a 5-channel receiver. Like I said, it's the 6000T. The part number is SR6000T. It has 4 ports here, 4 telemetry. 3 ports, I think. Plus you've got your 5 channels as well that you can use. It's got your bind port, steering, throttle, aux 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I have only the telemetry sensor hooked up for my motor temperature. That's really all I use. That's all I had any need for, basically. We run oval here. We run 17.5. As you can see, I got some fans going. Motor temperature is obviously key to the life of your motor. You definitely don't want to overheat. For me, you know, making a last minute gearing change before the start of the mains, I want to know if my motor's overheating. So I have that programmed in to my radio. I can set minimum and maximum values to get an alert on the radio if my motor temperature exceeds what I program in. My controller will actually vibrate or beep, whatever I want it to do, and let me know that you know, I'm at the point where I could start damaging my motor. So that was my main reason for getting it. I'll turn this on here so you can kind of get an idea. Alright, so I've got the truck on. You can hear the fans just blowing, and it is warm here today, or very cold here today, so the temperature will reflect that. So you can see I've got my telemetry open on my radio, 65 degrees Fahrenheit. It will register here as the lowest temperature that it sees, and it will register here for the highest temperature it sees. So at the end of the race, or at the end of your bash session, you can look down here, even though mine specifically with fans, if it sits for 2 minutes before I get out to it after the run, the motor's obviously going to be a lot cooler than if I got to it right away. This will note the highest temperature that it had over here and the lowest temperature here. So that's pretty cool. That's the main reason I got the radio. Get this truck turned off, get rid of that noise, and we can get that guy right on out of the way. Not necessary anymore. So, as far as the feel of the radio goes, I really like it. I like the way that it feels in my hand. The grip is nice. It does have grips that you can change. It doesn't come with them. You can buy them extra. For me, for my hand, for my size, I'm happy with the stock grip. It works well for me. So that's what I'm going to continue to use. As far as the drop-down wheel, I like the drop-down. You can change this and have it be a normal radio. You don't need to use the drop-down. Spektrum also sells wedges that you can put in here to adjust the angle of the wheel. I personally, for the way that I stand, the way that I hold my radio, this works really good for me. Inside the menu of the radio, we can go in here. We can go through some things. You know, this is where you're going to name your model. This is where you're going to set your endpoints. This is where you're going to set your steering rates, your expo, obviously your throttle rates as well. This is your binding section. This does bind as low as 5.5 milliseconds, which is awesome if latency is a concern for you. I will just make this note. The receiver that it comes with is capable of that 5.5 millisecond binding or frame rate. But if you want to use it, you'd have to disable telemetry, and your 5-channel receiver becomes a 2-channel. So you sacrifice a little bit of latency for the added features of the extra channels and the telemetry. So just keep that in mind. If you want to use that 5.5 millisecond frame rate, you are going to have to sacrifice your telemetry. Mixing, great for crawler guys that want to do 4-wheel steering or dual motors. ABC is the active vehicle control by Spektrum, so you've got full adjustment capabilities with that if you've got a receiver that's compatible. It does have anti-lock brakes that you can program, which is cool. Idle up, you're going to use that on your gas or nitro vehicles, basically for cold starts. If you have a hard time getting your vehicles to stay running when it's cold out, you can set an idle up, which will kind of advance the throttle for a little bit of time until the engine is up to operating temperature. It's got a built-in traction control feature. If you're on a loose track, or if you're on a car that's running loose tires, limited traction situation, you can set traction control here. Basically, what that's going to do is take the signal that you're giving it here and your trigger finger. It's going to run it through the radio and kind of feed the throttle in slowly so that you're not breaking the tires loose, you know, by being a little too aggressive with your trigger finger. You got your full trim setup. Obviously, here's where you assign all your channels to whatever switches that you want. Drive mode and telemetry. Telemetry, obviously, we talked about that earlier. Drive mode, you can basically set up a switch to control different modes. So let's say you have a vehicle that You know, you want to be able to set it up to drift, but you also want to set it up to be able to, you know, be really precise. You can go ahead and set up different parameters, different expo, different, you know, steering rates, dual rates types of things, and just have that all on one switch. So you can flip a switch and go from drive mode A, B, C, or D. So basically one car with 4 different driving modes, you can switch those on the fly. System settings, system setup, that's all boring stuff that nobody really wants to talk about. So I won't. But the video kind of got a little bit long, so we'll leave it where we're at right now. I'm really happy with the purchase. I love this new radio. It feels great. I've been using it for a couple of weeks now. I race oval. I've got it on my pan car. I've got it on my truck. It's a really good radio. It feels great. It drives great. I haven't had any issues with glitching. I love the telemetry. If you're in the market for a mid-range radio system, do not hesitate to get this, especially right now. At the time of this video, Spectrum's running that sale where you can get $50 off. You can take your stock Traxxas radio, trade that thing in, get $50 off a really nice radio system and upgrade. You won't be disappointed, I can promise you that. So until next time, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a good one.